Right then. In the firearms industry, the market is, for all intents and purposes, a battlefield. And on this battlefield, your brand isn't just some nice-to-have logo. No, it's your armor. It's what protects you from competitors and those, well, rather tiresome price wars. So let's get into the mission briefing. Now, this isn't just a clever phrase. It's a tactical doctrine. It's actually rooted in a psychological principle called the mere exposure effect. All it really means is that people prefer things simply because they're familiar with them. Repetition breeds recognition, and recognition, in turn, breeds authority. Simple as that. So the main objective here is to build what we call brand authority. Think of it as your operational reputation. It's what your customers are looking for, and just as importantly, it's what search engines are looking for too. They have this little acronym, EEAT. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. You get this right, and you become the default choice. Our mission, then, is to forge your brand into a piece of impenetrable armor. We're going to tackle this in 3 distinct operational phases. First, standardizing the kit. Second, fortifying the front line. And third, establishing your proactive defense systems. All right, first up, Operation Alpha, consistent kit. The entire objective here is about rigid adherence to your identity. We call it the consistency doctrine, and it dictates that repetition is, quite literally, the mother of recognition. A scattered message is just a weak defense. Your visual assets have to be locked down with military precision, and that means non-negotiable rules for your logo, a specific color palette that is used without any deviation, defined fonts for all communications, and of course, a consistent photography style. Any variation is a breach in protocol, and it weakens the whole structure. And your brand's personality, its voice, it has to be just as consistent. You've got to decide who you are, and just as importantly, who you are not. For example, we are precision-focused, we are not erratic. Well, one would certainly hope not, given the business we're in. Moving on, Operation Bravo, fortifying the front line. Look, if the brand is the armor, then your instructor is the main operating system inside it. They are the living, breathing embodiment of your brand and, frankly, the most critical part of the entire experience. And just consider this piece of intel for a moment. A staggering 70% of a customer's perception of a service business is influenced directly by the staff, not the kit, not the facility, but the person guiding them. Your instructor isn't just an employee. They are your primary product. So the tactic here is to engineer what we call a shareable moment. This is really the ultimate form of free, high-quality intelligence gathering, what civilians call word-of-mouth marketing. You end the session with a clear, measurable win, have the instructor proactively take a cracking photo, and provide some sort of tangible memento. You have to give them a story to tell. And that brings us to our final phase, Operation Charlie, managing reputation. Now, this is not a passive wait-and-see game. Reputation management is a continuous, defensive, and yes, an offensive operation. You have to command and control the narrative. Now here's a slightly counterintuitive thought for you. A perfect 5.0 rating across the board. It can look a bit, well, suspicious, but a 4.8 with thoughtful, professional responses to the odd bit of criticism, now that demonstrates accountability. That actually builds trust. It shows you're actively managing the ship. So your response protocol needs to be precise. For a 5-star review, thank them by name, mention the instructor, it reinforces your values. For a negative one, you acknowledge their experience, you state the action you'll take, and crucially, you move the conversation offline to resolve it. You control the narrative. The final layer of your defense is pervasive visibility. This means making sure your name, address, and phone data are absolutely identical everywhere online. It means getting mentions in niche forums and hobbyist blogs. And it means publishing expert content. When someone searches for a solution, your name has to be the only one that comes to mind. So, let's get to the after-action report, the strategic advantage. What are the tangible gains from all this operational rigor? Well, let me tell you, they are significant and they compound over time. The payoff is really threefold. First, your customer acquisition costs will plummet because people will start seeking you out directly. Second, loyalty goes through the roof. And third, you gain pricing power. You're no longer competing with the discount operators down the road, you're in a different league entirely. You see, ultimately, you're not just building a customer base, you're creating a loyal squad, a platoon of advocates who will actively defend and promote your brand, acting as a powerful force multiplier against any competitor who might be
a bit of a bother.
Which brings us to the final and most critical question you need to ask yourself. Your brand is your armor. It is your primary defense and your greatest strategic asset. Is it battle-ready?